Hello and welcome to Japanese Craft Beer Reviews. Today we're going to have a special session. We're going to review 4 different beers from TDM 1874 Brewery in Yokohama. And we are lucky enough to have the brewer of TDM 1874 with us today, and that is George Juniper. Hello, George.
Hello. Hiya.
And I'm also here along with Mark and the man formerly known as Boozy Now as well. And we're going to hear a little bit about the brewery from George and also George's history with the brewery. And then one by one, we will take a look at 4 brews, including some fairly recent ones from the brewery as well. Well, George, what can you tell us about the brewery, the history of TDM 1874?
So the brewery itself, we did our first batch in January 2017. So a little bit over 4 years now. The name of the brewery, the 1874 part, is actually from the parent company, which is a liquor store, and that's the year that started it. The liquor store is called Sakaguchiya. And historically, Nihonshu sales were sort of going down a little bit, and so with craft beer rising, it was a way of sort of not sinking the business into one hole, having different areas of the liquor market covered. And that's why a small brewery got built here.
Okay. So the Sakaguchiya was also a sake producer as well?
No, just a sakaya, so distributor.
Okay.
We also deliver to restaurants a lot in Yokohama, sort of Noge area. And then our territories getting further and further up into Tokyo, but typically sort of the Yokohama side of Shibuya. Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell us about the name a little bit? What the TD and M and the 1874? What do those imply?
So TDM, we're based in Tokai, Chiba. So it's 10 days market, which is roughly what Tokai Ichiba translates to.
I see. So is 10 ka day, is that right?
Yeah.
And Ichiba means regular marketplace?
Yeah. Yeah, so there used to be a market here, back in the day when you wouldn't have a marketplace that's in one place in town. It would be on the 10th of the month.
I see.
That's the sort of idea behind why the place is called that.
Okay.
The 1874 again is the founding year of the sakaya. Owner.
Okay. Now, how about you and when you came along, and what was the situation or your history actually, maybe before you came to TDM 1874?
Right.
How long in Japan?
I've been in Japan 10 years now, just over. And I'd started, my history really was, I started home brewing when I was 13 in the UK. And then I started working at Dark Star Brewery in the UK when I was 19. I moved over to Japan in 2011. I was at Kyuchi Shuzo for a year, then moved on to Brewer Brewing. Had a few years out teaching English, and then started at TDM. I started here in 2016 as the factory was being built. Yeah.
Okay. And according to RateBeer, there are 71 different beers produced. I imagine you probably made a few more than that.
Yeah, there's a few that haven't been checked in, I guess.
Yeah, and on Untapped, there's 72 beers listed at an average of 3.76 out of 5. Pretty high ratings overall. So, is there anything you would say, anything you would single out as being special about TDM? Something that you apart from other breweries in Japan? Something you're most proud of, perhaps?
I guess.
You won some award.
Hard to answer that without blowing my own trumpet a bit, but
you can blow your trumpet here. I mean,
blow the trumpet.
Okay.
No, I guess what makes us a little bit different is that a lot of the beers come from a English point of view, even when making sort of German or American styles. That I still feel there's like a sort of British sensibility in it, where you're my goal with any beer I make is like, if you have a beer and you don't want another one of it, it's not a good beer. Like every beer should be, you know, you can drink one after the other, make it sessionable, and that's kind of what that's the British mentality of brewing, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Great. Yeah. You make the best bitter. That, I think several people have commented on. It's absolutely an exceptional beer. In a style we don't see a lot in Japan.
No, it's still a style you don't see a lot. You'll see some people brew it as like a gente maybe once or twice a year, or people tend to go for ESBs because they're a little more punchy, a little more forgiving.
Yeah. Okay.
They don't need quite as fine a balance as a best bitter does. But,
Yeah.
There's a few good ones out there. I think they'd make a good best bitter, but I think that's just for their tap rooms. I don't think it's a year round.
Okay. And yours, of course, is a year round beer.
Yeah. It's actually more popular than I thought it would be. I thought it would be just, you know, something that I make every now and then, but it's been really well received, luckily.
Great. And Mark Allen, would you like to grill him in any way? I mean, anything you'd like to find out?
Yeah, sure. Well, since you're on the best bitter, and I just had one after quite a long time. I haven't had your beers for a while, and just when you found out that you had your own online shop, I put in an order. So, when I tried it, the thing that stood out for me, and it reminded me when you came to Kyoto, is that the malt is really rich and flavorful without being excessively heavy, and that's something that is that the British. I mean, is this the British sensibility that you're talking about, or is that part of it?
Yeah, it is part of it. Typically, like when I was younger as well, I was all about malty beers. You know, wasn't really into hoppy beer at all, to be honest. And that's changed as I've gotten older and been in Japan a little bit more. So back then, IPA was a thing in the UK, but it wasn't a thing like it is now, where it's, you know, it's taken over the market. It's everything's IPA. It used to be a little bit more, you know, craft beer was microbreweries. It was bitters and porters and stuff like that. So I've very much grown up to be focused on malt. So always trying to use the correct malt. And there's a tendency with American craft breweries that they'll use a very, very plain base malt and then use the malts to try and build up more flavor on these kind of beers, whereas that shouldn't be the way. It's use really flavorful base malt, which is what I do for British styles, and then you add a little bit of accent malts in. So that's where it's full-bodied but not sweet.
Yeah, that really stood out for me as a malt. It's just reminded me, I hadn't had anything like it for quite a while. So it was really pleasant.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it.
Yeah, and that's from English Marisotto. It's there's a lot of brewers who are scared to use it because it's so big and in your face and as a base malt.
Yeah.
But you really you need to be using those malts to make English bitters. That's the style. That's what they're made of.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll pass it over to Mark here.
I'm just wondering how you can stay afloat without making a new hazy IPA every week.
I've been lucky. Yeah. Luckily, the rest of our beers sell well.
I think that there's something special about your IPAs, and maybe it is that what you said, the slight British sensibility that's in there. Even though you're making, basically American IPAs or Kiwi IPAs, they're just a little bit maltier. They're never too sweet. They're hoppy, but they're not just like fruit juice. I think that you've managed to keep, and all the IPAs I've had from you in the last couple of years, you managed to just go right down the center. I think, it's not old school, but it's not trendy and just following those trends either. And I think, that this is something I really have appreciated lately with IPAs,
Yeah.
And I like the British stuff too, because it's so hard to find stuff now because it's like walls of New England IPAs everywhere,
Yeah,
it's true.
Brown ale or old ale or bitter, it's awesome,
Yeah.
So that's why I've been. So our IPAs are very popular, and we make a lot of them. The cool thing about that is that I can make these West Coast IPAs that have a modern twist on them, and they're popular, which means that I can still make best bitter, once every month and a half or so. It's not become, focusing on cash cow, like we've got to make hazy double IPAs, we've got to make hazy triple IPA next month. It's like there's a balance of making these good beers that allow me to still make the beers that I really want to make and that I really think Japan needs to have. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much, George. And now we're going to go on to the first of the 4 beers. Let me start.
All right, this is Mark here, back on the Japanese beer rating site here with the boys. And we have George Juniper, our favorite British brewer here in Japan. And he's doing all kinds of great stuff, British style, American style, every style. And right now we're gonna drink his sour cranberry. So what is this beer, George?
So this beer has almost become a sort of series, but trying different fruits each time. Started off with guava, and then let's see, we've done blackberry. My mind's gone blank. Done quite a few of them anyway. Yeah, and so cranberry is actually one of my favorite fruit. So I was really looking forward to using it. I like the kind of acidity and the slight tannins you get with cranberry. So yeah, it's a fruited kettle sour sort of mini series we do. We just change the fruit each time.
Would you say that your Yokohama pear, Asian pear beer is part of that series, or is that different?
It's a little bit different. The Hamanashi is not actually kettle soured, and it's a little bit of I don't really want to say it omiyage beer, but it's almost in that vein of like using local produce. So the people that get interested by, oh, this has got local fruit in it. This has got. We just did a beer with genmai, the people who are really interested and switched on by that.
Brown rice.
Yes, yeah.
English, yeah.
The people who are really attracted to that sort of local produce and beer things, they're not typically heavy craft beer drinkers. So that Hamanashi beer is a little bit less sour than this kettle sour is. Yeah.
So this is a kettle sour.
Cool.
Yes.
Okay. And can you tell us about the malt and the hops that went into this?
The malt is pretty simple. I believe it's Canadian Pilsner malt on it. Mm-hmm. So contrary to what we've said before, the idea behind that is to have as little malt flavor as possible. Mm-hmm. Canadian Pilsner is very lean in flavor, very clean, and the idea is to try and make the fruit pop a little bit more by not having all these sort of bready, grainy flavors in there.
Okay.
A little bit of wheat, and there's a tiny bit of rice in there as well.
Why the rice?
Yeah.
Just to give a little bit more dryness.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And the hops?
It's just Magnum, just a very small bittering charge at the beginning of the boil. Okay. There's no aroma hops in it. Again, trying to make the fruit pop.
Yeah. You have interesting, you use this on several of your labels here. It's a biplane bombing Yokohama. This is Yokohama skyline, I believe. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Bombing Yokohama with hops. Is this the same designer that you used before? The same guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Yokohama skyline is being inundated with George's hops. George beer from TDM.
I just love this, and there's so many different colored ones, and I put them across a page, and it's almost like a Warhol thing, to have several different colors. It looks really cool.
Make a shirt, with them. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, the idea behind this was when COVID hit last year, we the way to keep selling beer is to keep making new ones. Pretty universal across craft beer. But we can't spend months on a design every time we want to release a new beer. So we have like these different colored, the plain sticker on the front, and then we can just change the back to each new beer that we make. We can just put, it saves us having to spend a lot of time making original labels all the time for a beer that we might not make twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. Well, this is certainly interesting.
Is there any other fruit besides cranberry? Is it all cranberry puree?
It's all cranberry. There is a tiny bit of so before kettle souring, you want to bring the pH of the wort down a little bit. It just stops it getting infected by bad bugs, basically. You want to make an environment where the lactobacillus is really healthy, or only lactobacillus can survive in. And so to bring that pH down a little bit, we use a little bit of citric acid. So it does give it a slight sort of citrus tone, but there is no citrus fruit in it.
I get red raspberry on the nose. I know it's cranberry, but it can easily be mistaken for red raspberries.
Yeah, I don't think we probably wouldn't know what. I mean, I have cranberries every morning, but I don't smell them. I wouldn't know what the cranberry aroma really is.
Well,
so
wow.
Go ahead. No.
So another reason I was really looking forward to making this sour using cranberry is back to when I was homebrewing in university. Actually, I used to make a lot of wine out of cranberry. Cranberry juice is very cheap in the UK, and you can make not too bad wine with it. So I did that a lot, and it's kind of slightly nostalgic for me to be brewing with cranberry after years of not.
Where did you get cranberries?
This is cranberry puree from the US.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen how much cranberries cost in Japan. It's eye-watering.
These are not dried cranberries, right? But fresh.
No, they would have been fresh and pureed.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the only cranberries I've seen here are the dried ones, like a Costco package, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and then all the cranberry juice you see on the shelves in Japan, it's never 100% cranberry. It's always blended with apple and grape, and pure cranberry juice is eye-wateringly expensive.
Quite undrinkable too, isn't it? Like sour.
I mean, I like it. It's quite tannic, actually. Straight cranberry juice. But I like that sort of drying finish that you get from cranberry.
This definitely has a drying finish, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Nice astringency.
So that would be the tannins from the cranberry then.
Yes.
And the lactic, right? Lactic. No, lactic.
The acidity from the lactic and the citric acid. Yeah, but if you're getting a sort of slight astringent note, or a drying note at the end, it would probably be from the tannins in the cranberry.
A lot of sours that I have tend to leave this kind of coating on my tongue at the end, and this does not so much. I don't know. I guess kind of super astringency kind of hanging onto your tongue, and this one, it's nice. It doesn't have that.
There's just a little which makes you thirsty and wants you to make you want to drink more.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, I think, with wine, because the acidity and tannins. How do you distinguish them? Well, the acidity, I figured you get mouth-watering reaction, and you salivate, and you want to have more. Then those tannins are the drying part, right? Which kind of seem like sort of the opposite in a sense. Easy with cotton mouth if it's really tannic,
Yeah, and that's why like very high tannin wines are perfect with very food that clings to your palate, like greasy salami or jamon serrano and stuff like that, because the tannins help pull away the oil in your mouth.
Right, the fats.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, cool.
It's great.
It's impressive. I mean, it's obviously it's not super sour because Japanese won't buy crazily sour stuff. But it's not sweet. I really appreciate that. It's just got that fruity flavor, little malt. And you really get the cranberry, right? Like you said, nothing's getting in the way of it, And it's clean, and it's just a big hit.
It's very well balanced. I mean, everything is just kind of to the right degree, it seems. I mean, it's not too sour. It's not too astringent. It's not overly sweet. It's very, nicely done.
Yeah, so that's why there's a little bit of rice in there. It's make it not have that sweet hang at the end. It's meant to be sort of crisp and well carbonated as well, so it just it feels light afterwards.
Nice.
Wow.
Any final thoughts, gentlemen? I think we're going to move on and try a new one next.
Final thoughts. One more, please.
So not final, huh? Keep on going.
Yeah.
Well, great, thank you. This once again, this is called TDM 1874 Sour Cranberry, and it is a 5% sour from TDM 1874, brewed by the man here, George Juniper. Okay, we're going to take a little break and then come back and look at another one of his beers.